Welcome to another episode coming at you from ChooseYourRelationships.com, author of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. And today I'm going to talk about the only reason why you should get married. But this is a question that was brought to my attention, and I think I talked about this a couple years ago in a previous video. And a lot of dudes were saying, man, I don't know about getting married, man. I don't know. But I don't tell dudes not to get married. I tell them a lot of mistakes that a lot of guys make, and a lot of things that I wish I knew, or at least a lot of mistakes that a lot of other guys wish they knew, because just like anything, you're not gonna know everything before you get involved. That's just life. You know, it doesn't matter what you do in life, you're not gonna know everything until you get involved. Just like when you go to college, just like if you go in the military, just like you start a new job, you're not going to know everything. You know, that's just what it is. You know, you try your best to know as much as you can, and educate yourself as much as you can. But experience is priceless. So I say, man, the only reason that you should get married is if you want a family with kids. That's the only logical, practical reason that makes sense to me. Now, a lot of people will say, now, what about love? What love don't last forever. Love changes for a lot of people. A lot of people weren't raised like that. You know, love doesn't exist in certain cultures. So it just depends. And people change as they get older. Their perceptions change. Their responsibilities change. Some people become an entirely different person 15, 20 years later. 15, 20 years later, they might say, hey, I don't love you no more and I don't want to be with you. So I wouldn't get married just for love. If you get married, it has to be something that's bigger than love. So love is kind of that's kind of a sucker's game. I'm sorry. I mean, if you're a sucker looking for love, okay, get a dog or have a bunch of girls that you can call over or whatever, but don't get married just for love. You know, it has to be something that's much bigger than just how you feel. How you feel is going to change. Especially women change how they feel all the time. You know, so you can't, that's not a solid reason to get married. A lot of dudes get married because, oh, she got pregnant. Or when they say, oh, she was a good woman, so I didn't want to lose her. Those are not good reasons to get married. Just because you don't want to lose her. I'm like, what's so special about her? I mean, you put her on a pedestal because, okay, she's a good woman for you, and how good is she? And what type of guy she dated before you? If she was that good, you wouldn't have met her. She would have been already scooped up already. So this doesn't make any this is not practical thinking. This is based on how you feel. And how you feel is going to get you into trouble most of the time. I hate to say it. So, and a lot of guys, we get the first marriage, you know, they call the starter marriage. A lot of people say that because most guys don't get it right. I'm not gonna say most guys. I said a lot of guys don't get it right on the first shot. They usually get it right on the second try if they do it again. And the reason why that is, sometimes a lot of people are too young. You know, they get married in the 20s, and that's a mistake, in my opinion. I think if you're gonna get married, I say you should be at least 35 plus. You know, because by that time, you already know who you are. You figured some things out. Because when you're in the 20s, you're still trying to get past the lies because you've been lied to. You know, there's so many lies within society, you know. So you're still trying to find yourself in the 20s, and you're still trying to figure out how you're gonna make a living and how you're gonna create more life, have more freedom. But if you get married, and you doing double duty, you know, so it's just too much. I think it's just too much responsibility for somebody in the 20s. That's just my opinion. You know, this is why a lot of marriages don't last. Cause most of the time it's almost always about the money, directly or indirectly. And sometimes there's like a myth out here that people think that the reason why people break up because they don't have enough money. No, sometimes that's not it. Sometimes a lot of women get greedy. They be like, you know what? Why don't I just take as much as I can get from you and put you on child support and be on my way, and I'll get with another guy and start all over again. You know, that's a lot of times that's just greed. And a lot of times she was the wrong woman in the first place. She wasn't really committed. You know, she was just, you know, you was just her little beta sucker. Now, a lot of times that's what it is. But a lot of times the dude, he don't know no better. No one was around to teach him and show him the way. Just because she looked good, that don't mean she good. But we become so fascinated by how she looks, and all things practical and what makes sense go out the fucking window for most guys. They start acting all goofy and silly. And then they start looking at her like she's special, like she's the prize. But in reality, the guy is you the prize. Women are strategically going after guys now. I mean, they've been doing it, but I mean, they're competing against guys. Guys aren't competing against women like that. Women are trying to get in certain circles to get at certain guys. Guys are not competing like that. Not to that extent. They're not stabbing each other in the back and, you know, jumping on other women. You know, guys don't really get down like that. Now, of course, guys are competitive, but not to the extent that women go about doing it. A woman will fuck her girlfriend's man and won't feel bad about it. I mean, there's some cold-blooded guys out here, but not to that extent. I mean, there's some dirtbags out here, don't get me wrong, but women are cold-blooded with it. So there's a reason why they do what they do. And it ain't just because it ain't for fun. Well, see, us guys, when we sleep with a bunch of women, we do it for fun. Women are doing that for fun. Unless she's broken. You know, but if a woman is hanging around a dude, it's usually a reason. And it ain't just for money. And it ain't just for a good time. You know, she's trying to see where this train is going, so she can jump on or jump off. you know, and that's going to determine, and you as the guy, who you are is going to determine it, how long she's going to stay on that train. And like I always say, either she's in or she's out, you know, because this is what I'm doing over here. I don't know what happened before me, but this is what I'm doing over here. You know what I mean? That's how I roll. I have an open door policy. I mean, you're never stuck. You know, no one has to be around me. I beg no one to be around me. If you want to rock with me, cool. If one day you wake up and say, hey man, I ain't happy, I don't want to be here no more. Oh, cool. You know, but just know that when you leave, you can't come back. It ain't gonna be the same. Oh, sure, I'll talk to you. I'll answer the phone, but it ain't gonna be the way it used to be. Oh no, you best believe that. Dude, If a woman walks through that door, walks outside with all her bags and stuff and say, hey, I'm out. Okay, that's cool. But you can't come back. You can visit. Okay, yeah. But somebody else is taking your spot. And this is the difference between the alpha types, the boss players. That's what a lot of people call them. The guy with options versus the beta dudes. The boss players, we call the shots. The movers and shakers, we call the shots. The beta dudes, well, he's just looking at her like he's just happy to be with her. He'll say stuff like, oh, I'm so lucky. If it wasn't for her, I don't know where I would be. And a lot of times, a lot of these women are just average and mediocre. It is average and mediocre. A lot of guys put a lot of value on a woman based on how she looks. And that gets a lot of guys into trouble. A lot of these women, man, today can't cook, don't clean. You know, it's like they're not really talking about anything. It's hard to have a conversation with them. A lot of them aren't very intelligent. You know, it's like after you smash, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna say that's a good 60-70% of women out here today. After you smash, there's nothing else left to talk about, really. She don't really have nothing to bring to the table. There's nothing there. It's like an empty can. That's just what it is today. You know, a lot of dudes say, hey man, how do I find a good woman to marry? Well, you find a good woman that's based on who you are first. Once you get to know yourself, and once you, like I always say, travel and start meeting a bunch of women, that way you know what you want, what you like, what you don't like. You know, it just depends on where the guy is at in his life too. Some guys don't need the same thing. Some guys just want a woman that just take care of the household, take care of the kids, and he got the rest. And just be there to support him, whatever he's doing. You know, a lot of dudes don't be wanting that much. They just want someone that's nurturing, caring, supportive, someone to give him a helping hand, doing whatever he's doing. You know, it ain't that complicated. But just the small things, a lot of women have a problem with. A lot of women will say, oh, it's all about you. Well, yeah, it kind of is. Because if the man wins, she wins and the family wins. Everybody wins. But she doesn't see it like that. You're looking at it from an individual standpoint, because a lot of women are secretly trying to compete against the man. This is why a lot of women won't help the dude do anything. But at the same time, she wants to enjoy the fruits of his labor later on, a couple years down the road, which that doesn't happen, because what usually happens, if she doesn't help or support in any way, he's gonna leave her for another woman. Because the dude's gonna look at it like, hell, you ain't helped me do shit. So why should I let you stick around? Why should I leave you anything? Now you might say, well, with a new girl, she went around either. It doesn't matter. The point is, he doesn't want her, the woman that was around not doing anything. He doesn't want her to benefit from what all the hard work and commitment that he's taken over the years. That's the whole point. You know, that's really the whole point, man. You know, see, I always say, man, you want to be a guy with options. See, the more options you have, the more freedom you have. This is why I always say make as much money as you can, so you can leverage that money to create more opportunities. That way you have more freedom. And that way you getting women won't be such a big deal anymore. You know, I personally, I never had a lot of problems with meeting women. Being around women was always easy for me. Now, keeping women around, that was a challenge, you know. But I wasn't really looking for that when I was younger. But having women around me, women like being around me, because they say, oh, you're an interesting guy or whatever. Oh, I've been getting that all my life. It's easy to attract women to me. They want to be around me. They want to see what I'm all about or whatever. That's easy. That's always been the easiest part for me, you know. But women trying to run scams on me and trying to take advantage of me, that's another thing. That's something that a lot of guys have to be aware of and be, you got to watch the company you keep. And you got to watch the people around you. You got to watch who they bring around you too. That's another thing. That's where the problem usually comes in at. A lot of times it ain't the women that you know directly. It's the women that they bring over to your house or to your party. That's where the problem usually comes in at. You know? So at the end of the day, man, every man has to figure out what type of woman he wants, what type of relationship he wants, and what type of family that he wants. And I never say don't get married, but the guys that say they don't want to get married, I understand that too. But the good news is you don't have to get married to the state. You don't have to. The good news is you can have any type of relationship you want. If you're a mover and a shaker, a boss-like player, if you brought your business out here, you can have any relationship you want. But if you're a beta dude, you can't have any relationship you want. And that's how it is. So if you want your relationships to get better, if you want your life to get better, you got to upgrade yourself. That way, your life will be better, because the quality of your life is dictated upon the quality of your relationships. Like I always say, I always tell a lot of people when they say they have financial problems, nine times out of 10, I say you got a relationship problem. That's what you got. Because I always look at it like this: if I get the the relationships right, if I can have good, healthy relationships with people, the money, it has to happen. The relationships will take care of the money. It has to happen. That's just science. That's been scientifically proven to work that way. You know? So I hope this helps you out. Like, share the video. Tell me what you think below. If you need any more help, go to SharpGame.net. That's SharpGame.net. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.